Can you afford to have that American dream right now? Or is that dream becoming a nightmare for you in this crazy ass market? And I'm gonna do a deep dive in what's going on in this hectic real estate market where nobody knows what's gonna be happening. So home prices are definitely on the increase despite inflation. Like everything is going up, right? You got the price of milk and the price of gas and the price of bread and the price of everything just continuing to climb as the consumer price index actually is at its highest point since the early part of 2022. Why would the housing market be any different? Look, there's limited inventory. You've got a topsy-turvy relationship going on with mortgage rates. The feds keep pushing that up to try to bring inflation down. And then you've got listings that are just failing and falling. All of this stuff going on. You've got all these cash investors. You've got a whole bunch of people that are still doing bidding wars in certain areas, trying to chase this market, to try to find out what's going on. And oddly enough, the best performing homes are the moderately priced homes in moderately priced areas. You know, take that with a grain of salt because obviously here in LA, the median price point is 1.2 million right now. And our luxury actually, occurs somewhere around $3.5 million and above. So a moderately priced home is somewhere around $1 million. That might be a huge luxury somewhere else in the Midwest and in the South, and even in some places in California. That's a hefty price to pay. So whatever is moderate in your area is still probably selling a lot better than the higher priced properties. The third thing I will say is happening is these real estate investors who actually own about 1/10 of all the homes on sale right now. That investor activity is starting to go down as of 2023. There's fewer investor deals. Thus, that means fewer bidding wars going on because they were part of the bidding war, right? Trying to buy from Bob and Susie, the regular buyer. They would come in with a hefty dose of cash and outbid everybody else. But since that's been falling, we're seeing some of the bidding wars go down. The other thing is that you've got the selling prices, right? We're not going above list, as they say. So let's say you list a house for $400,000. What we're not seeing is it go for $405, $410, $15. It usually is closing at the list price or below the listing price. And that could be a challenge for anybody selling a home. So therefore that kind of goes back to, are they going to put their homes out on the marketplace? So look out for that. If you are selling, there's still prices being adjusted out there. And all boils down to who you hire and what the prices are, and are you within that selling price? The location, condition, and inventory always dictate the price. Let's talk about the other thing that are on everybody's mind, which is renting cheaper than owning. Okay, rocket scientist, detective, you figured it out. Yes, it is. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of cost to owning a home. You've got maintenance, you've got landscaping, you've got taxation to think about. In certain cases, you've got HOAs. And so renting is always going to be, in the short term, cheaper than owning a home. But if you intend to own a home for the long run, I'll get more into that in a sec. Airbnb and VRBO, the vacation sites, they're actually helping to decrease the home supplies out there because whereas, if I owned a vacation home, I'm not using it, or I own a home somewhere and, I moved in with somebody or whatever the variables were, most people would just list the house and sell it. Now what's going on is people are actually utilizing, like, let's say you're an empty nester, you don't need a 5-bedroom home. Well, people are Airbnb-ing it or putting it on VRBO, and that is taking the home supply down as well. So obviously a lesson in basic economy, as the supply goes down, demand goes up, and prices go where? If demand is high, where do prices go? They go higher. So that's probably going to definitely hit the supply chain as well. You've got a slowdown in flipping, And so what that might do is force a correction in the marketplace. And then one of the last challenges out there, let's discuss, is that the first-time home buyer has a little bit of difficulty right now while they're still competing with the cash buyers out there in the marketplace. And then what that does is, if you're a first-time home buyer, you're probably trying to pull together all your money and you're competing with some guy, some fund, some investment group that's just going to lay down the cash. So it can be challenging for sure. But now I was going to talk about the long game in real estate, right? So for the short term, housing might be a declining asset, if you will. And I told you all the reasons why that's occurring, including rising unemployment. So you've got inflation on the rise and you got people losing jobs. There's strikes going on in different parts of the country. There's also, all those lagging indicators from the employment side. So unemployment rather is going up because the side effects of when the government shut businesses down that were non-essential. Remember that? Where people were, wearing these masks on their face and everybody was like, oh my God, everybody's got the cooties. You remember that time? I won't even mention what that time was all about. But because so many businesses closed down during that time, you've got a huge unemployment rate rising. Remember, unemployment is a lagging indicator. Shit that happened months ago or a year ago is just hitting us now. All of those things you have to be aware about, cautious about, and you need to be able to be a little cautious in the next coming months. But I have a little advice for you. If you intend to live in the house for 5 to 7 years, you don't have to worry about the short-term gain. The short term is only an issue if you intend to move out lickety split, like buy a house 3 months, 6 months later, you're leaving. That might be speculative and you might get hit with the market. So if you are like one of those got to buy or got to sell situations, divorce, death, relocation, all of those unfortunate or fortunate circumstances, sometimes it's a fortunate one, like you're having a kid, you want to expand or sell or whatever. That type of situation is always around. So if someone's trying to buy a home or sell a home, in the short term, you might get hit with the price corrections going on in the marketplace. You might not know where to land. But in the long term, if you live in that house for the next 5 to 7 years, who cares what you're paying for it now? Because you're going to make that back up in equity later. Look, if you want more advice like this about what's going on in the real estate market and how your money's going to be affected or how your investments are going to do, go ahead and follow me for more content like this. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so when I come out with more content, you'll be the first people to know.